If you play or don't play Genshin Impact, you probably are aware of the current drama going in the community. People think that players are upset because of the lack of the rewards, but it's far deeper than that, and people are losing hope. Today we are exposing Genshin Impact.
My excitement is next to zero.
Now to start off, I believe that Genshin is one of the best games ever made. It's a very good game. The gameplay is good, the lore is better than most stories seen in modern games, and the list goes on. But when players reached the end game, they started noticing its flaws. And this is our first point. People asked for the end game and hardcore content. When you reach the end game in Genshin Impact, the game becomes too easy. It doesn't matter if you spend money on the game or not. The only mode that you can try your characters on is called the Spiral Abyss, which is mostly also easy. While it will take months to beat the Spiral Abyss as a new player, but soon after beating it, it will never fulfill the need of seeing the full potential of your characters again. To give you an example, there is a character named Eula. This character isn't overpowered, she is just a good character. In short, the character needs to do some weaker attacks on the enemy to gain stacks, to do a special attack with a huge chunk of damage. Why am I telling you this? It's because a lot of people, when they wanna see the big chunk of damage, they find themselves killing the boss already with the weaker attacks before the ultimate ability explodes, which makes people ask, why did we even get a 5-star character? And why do we spend weeks or even months in building them? And we can just beat the game with 4 stars only. And people don't wanna play 4 stars characters because the 5 stars are just more fun. And it's been years where content creators and players are asking for endgame content, but we never seen any response from Hoyoverse for a reason that we will talk about later. Because even if this is the main problem of the game, there are still other huge problems. Which brings us to the next points, the lack of quality of life changes. A lot of things that can be changed in the game and make it better aren't being implemented. But to give credit to Hoyoverse, from the launch of Fontaine till now, we were given quality of life changes that people asked for every patch. But some of them also prove that they never listen to the community because they add some quality of life changes that no one asked for that prove that they are not listening to us. For example, people wanted artifact loadouts, which makes you change the character gear in just one click. A lot of games have loadouts and it's just a normal thing. Not with Hoyoverse. This feature isn't added even after 3.5 years. 3.5 years of people asking for it. While in other games like Tower of Fantasy, this feature has been added in 4 months after the game was launched. Imagine, Tower of Fantasy had a very bad launch. A lot of people didn't like it, but the game kept improving by a whole lot after every patch, adding so many things that people wanted. And it's not only TOF. The main game that made people more upset is Honkai Star Rail, a game from the same developers of Genshin Impact. The game had almost every quality of life change we asked for, and even a lot of endgame content being added every 2 patches. Yet Genshin still didn't catch up to them after almost a year of the launch of Honkai Star Rail. Even something like adding a very popular language in the game, which is a drama that wasn't talked about in the West. Because before, there was a huge drama that happened in North Africa and the Middle East. Because a lot of Arab players asked for adding the Arabic language. And there is a huge amount of people that I see every day asking for the same thing. And I have some data of the fraction of the amount of people that spend money on the game there. I can tell you that people there are spending so much money on the game. So why won't they do anything about it if it makes more people play it there? Other than that, people kept waiting and still having hope that the game changes until version 1.6 in Honkai Star Rail came in, where Honkai Star Rail gives a free 5-star character for their players, which brings us to our third point, the lack of the rewards. Genshin has been like that from the start. While implementing a good gacha system, they didn't do anything more than that. And when it came to, for example, the anniversary rewards, they just gave a temple to the players, which made them rage and boycott the game and made the company actually give another temple for them. And for some reason, people stopped complaining after this simple compensation. And when Star Rail was launched, players were getting the temple after temple after temple every single patch. And they also gave them an overpowered unit for free, which made everybody question the reasoning behind this. Some thought it's an experiment, and some of them thought it's a problem in the leadership of Genshin, which is probably true, because once one of the Honkai Impact leaders moved to Genshin, Honkai Impact 3rd started getting better, and it's still getting better to this day, while Genshin never had something really new, which is kind of a theory. Nothing is proved yet for this, but it makes sense, to be honest. And all of these patches without change made Genshin too predictable, which is our next point. What I mean by predictable is that I can really predict what we will get in every single patch. Because yes, Genshin is adding something in every patch, and we actually know when we will get a filler patch, and we can predict when we will get a Dane sleeve story, which is the most important and best story that we get one patch a year. So the game doesn't have the element of surprise, unlike other games like Honkai Star Rail. We do not know what will happen in 2.1, and I said earlier that there was a reason behind Hoyoverse not responding. Of course, we don't know the main reason, but one of the reasons is the Genshin community itself. A lot of people in this community were just defending Hoyoverse, just because the other elements of the game are good, without acknowledging that the other players want these changes to make the game better, which made the community and the content creators divided. When you play Genshin, you have to pick a side. Until 4.4 came out, and the devs announced that they will give 3 whole polls as a gratitude for playing the game for 3 whole years. And Chinese players didn't like it, and that started the latest drama that everyone knows of. But after all of this drama, the community found out that if we will always see people and content creators defending Hoyoverse, why even bother? And Hoyoverse itself is never listening, and the hope for the game is almost gone. In my opinion, I think that even if they start fixing the game now, it's kind of too late. While it's definitely a good thing and I myself will get excited, but they will never get back the same feeling that we had for the game before. Which brings us to the last point, Wuthering Waves. This is the last hope for everything. The devs of this game already showed how much they care and how much they listen, and if the game launches and people like it from the start, maybe it will finally be the reason of Hoyoverse to start improving their game. Because I love Genshin Impact. Recently, one of my Twitch chatters dared me to fight the Raiden Shogun with the Electro team, which makes the fight way harder. I didn't even want to play Genshin at the time, and I had a blast. I had so much fun that I haven't felt in a long time from Genshin Impact. But do you think the game will change in the future, or did you lose hope? And that's how we exposed what happened in Genshin Impact. Thank you for watching, and I'll leave you to Kafka.
If you don't subscribe to stioorg, you're gonna lose every single T50 in your life. I'm gonna send you every chemical until you subscribe. Also check his latest video, you'll love it.